for that one. It is now my pleasure to invite Damon McCall, one of our executive principals, to the podium for a couple of recognitions. The first one is the recognition of Graciela Cano as the Humanities Texas Outstanding Teaching Award recipient. Good morning, Damon.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Brady, Board of Trustees, Dr. Rollo. It is my honor to be able to recognize Harwell Elementary School teacher Graciela Cano, and she has been selected as one of the 12 recipients of the statewide for the 2023 Humanitarians Texas Outstanding Teacher of the Humanitarians Award. The award recognizes exemplary contributions of humanities teachers in Texas elementary, middle, and high schools. Recipients receive a $5,000 cash award with an additional $1,000 for their schools to purchase humanities-based instructional materials. Humanities Texas advances education through programs that improve the quality of classroom teaching, support libraries and museums, and create opportunities for lifelong learning. Founded in 1973 as the state affiliate of the National Endowment for Humanities, Humanities Texas is one of 56 state and jurisdictional humanities councils in Texas.
Damon, please stay at the podium and lead us in our recognition of J.C. Underwood for her work in TEPSA.
All right, one of my amazing principals, Miss Underwood. J.C. From Smith Elementary School, Principal J.C. Underwood was recently named as a member at large to the Texas Elementary Principals and Supervisors Association for 2023-2024 Executive Committee on the Board of Directors. The TEPSA Board of Directors is made up of school administrators who serve with a purpose and a passion to set and lead association's strategic direction and maintain a positive impact on legislators, policymakers, and other stakeholders to ensure a quality pre-K through 8 education for all Texas students. TEPSA, whose hallmark is educational leaders learning with and from each other, has served Texas pre-K through 8 school leaders since 1917. Members owned and members governed, TEPSA has more than 6,000 members who direct activities of more than 3 million pre-K through 8 children. JC, come on up.
But wait, there's more. It is now my pleasure to invite Beth Barrage, our Executive Director of Leadership and Professional Development, to lead us in the recognition of our 2023 Elementary and Secondary Teachers of the Year. Good morning, Beth.
Good morning, President Brady, trustees, Dr. Rollo. Each spring across Lubbock ISD, each campus nominates a Teacher of the Year. This person represents their school as an outstanding educator. From that group of applicants, a panel selects one elementary and one secondary teacher per feeder pattern as finalists. In May, these finalists were recognized at the LISD Teacher of the Year banquet. At this event, we also announced the elementary and secondary teachers of the year, and they both represented Lubbock ISD at the regional level. I have the great honor to introduce to you this morning both of them. First, we have Caitlin Zahn, teacher at Miller Elementary. She was honored as the Elementary Teacher of the Year for Lubbock ISD, and she has been an educator for 8 years. Caitlin? Next, I would like to introduce you to Micah Smith, teacher at Coronado High School. She was honored as the Secondary Teacher of the Year for Lubbock ISD. She has taught U.S. history at Coronado for the last 13 years. Micah. At this time, I'd like to welcome Sid Sexton from Region 17 Service Center for a special announcement.
Good morning. It is always a pleasure to get to be with you. I am Sid Sexton here representing the Region 17 Education Service Center, and it gives me immense pleasure to not tear up with y'all, announcing the Regional Secondary Teacher of the Year. This year's recipient is someone whose teaching is rooted in helping students see beyond just two sides of every issue. Her dedication to her students and their command of history can be found with students playing characters from the Homestead Strike, in the Gilded Age, or visiting New Deal sites around Lubbock, or even visiting New Deal. She has a passion for student success that is contagious and found in critical learning moments like avid sports or Mustang Prep. Her reminders to other public ed practitioners to keep them encouraged are rooted in how she sees them, really sees them, whether it's supporting an exhausted student who stayed up late to work and support his family, or giving of themselves even amid their own struggles, or jumping at the chance to engage all students. Our Regional Secondary Teacher of the Year from Coronado High School is Micah Smith.
That's pretty cool. Two different kinds of highs to begin and end that. At this time, I will open up the floor to trustee comments. Trustees, I will remind you that there's some folks here that want to take a picture with some of our honorees after this recess. And as you can tell, we got to hurry or we won't be able to have class at Coronado.
Right.
So at this time, I'll open up the floor.
Congratulations to all our staff, our teachers. This is the kind of excellence that we have in Lubbock Independent School District. So proud of each and every one of you. May God continue to bless you as you flourish throughout this year. Blessings.
Congratulations, everyone, and what wonderful news to hear this morning to start. So we're proud of all of you, each and every one of you, from all of your service that you've provided at our campuses and the passion and love that you pour into our kids every day. Thank you.
Very proud of all the recipients today. Well deserved. Micah, awesome. JC, great job. Graciela, great job. CHS teachers, administrators, thank y'all for showing up. That's amazing. I'm proud to represent y'all. Thank you.
Nice.
Want to end by just saying on behalf of the board, we can't say thank you enough. It's funny, I didn't know Micah was going to get the award either, and you know, I was going to make a crack about 13 years, and you know, whether or not this one was going to be lucky or unlucky, but I guess we figured that out. And you know, 13 years is not a short time in this business. And Micah, your dedication is appreciated and recognized, as is the dedication of all our other honorees. Dr. Rollo.
We're just extremely proud of the adults that we have in our system, because they are completely dedicated to supporting our students and our families. So just thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you do for every child every day.
At this time, as I mentioned earlier, we want to give our honorees some opportunities to take some pictures with their colleagues and loved ones. It is 7:16 a.m. and we'll be at recess. Good morning. After that 10-minute recess, we are back in order at 7:26 a.m. Next item on the agenda is citizen comments. No citizens signed up in advance to address today's meeting. That deadline was yesterday at 5 o'clock, as posted on the website and in our rules. Item 5, consent agenda. Consider board approval of the minutes for the regular meeting and workshop held July 13th, 2023. Any corrections or additions to the minutes? Hearing none, they're approved as printed. Trustees, the chair is in trial this week. Therefore, we're going to take one item out of order. We're going to move to Roman numeral 7, administrative action items, and then we'll come back to Roman numeral 6 and then proceed through the rest of the agenda. Item 7, administrative action items. Do we have any members of the public who would like to address the board regarding the administrative action items that are posted? Yes, sir, come forward. Good morning. I'll give you some instructions.
Okay, go ahead.
Please state your name, your address, and which of the administrative action items you'll be addressing the board on.
Okay. My name is.
Pardon me.
Go ahead.
Typically, we limit these comments to 1 minute. I'll go ahead and give you the normal, the public comment time of 3 minutes to the extent you talk about something that's posted in Roman numeral 7. You may begin.
All right, I'll only need 1 minute. My name is Jim Baxa, address 5711 Interstate 27.
Hi, Jim.
Addressing action item A, the tax rate increase.
Sure.
And I'd like to speak against increasing that tax rate above the no new revenue rate. We're taxing citizens too much. And the legislature did step in and help, and therefore it looks like it's a nicer number this year than it was last year because of what the legislature did, but we need to hold spending down in order to get that rate lower than it currently is. I'm finding that this district spends a lot of money on things that we don't need to spend money on. Couple examples, we have a attorney that we're spending a lot of money on paying an attorney and who does not even understand the rules that we are allowed to speak without giving 72 hours notice on speaking items. So why are we paying an attorney who doesn't realize what the state law is, that law changed 2 years ago? Another example, we have a library stocked full of books that are really, really bad, that are actually pornographic at times. And we're paying a lot of money to maintain a library that is gross, is disgusting. And really the buck stops with this board. We need the board to be going through line item by line item on spending and saying, okay, should we be spending money on having this book in the library? Should we be having money spent on this amount for this attorney? Giving money to TASB, for example. There are so many examples I could go through of spending that this board needs to be scrutinizing to much greater detail and therefore being able to lower the tax rate.
Thank you, Jim.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ma'am, would you also like to address?
Yes, the same action item.
All right, would you, again, name?
Yes, Renee
address.
Dempsey.
Pardon?
Renee Dempsey.
Yes, ma'am.
114 East 19th, Littlefield, Texas. I'm a Cradleite, Lubbock, born and raised here. And I don't believe that our taxes should be increased for books like Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. These are words out of the book that is currently in your Lubbock ISD libraries.
I'm going to listen to comments, ma'am.
Yay, Earl, I am going to eat your
Ma'am.
pussy. Hey, yay, do you even know
Ma'am.
how to eat pussy in your school libraries? And that is inappropriate for our tax dollars to be paid for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to have you here from Hockley County. I stand corrected. Item 7. We've taken public comment on our administrative action items. Item A, approval of a resolution adopting a tax rate for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. Shay Jennings.
Good morning. Yes, coming to you with some good news today. We are seeing further tax compression this year due to the action in the legislature and Senate Bill 2, and we are proposing a combined tax rate M&O and INS of 0.9238 this year, broken down as 74 17.88 per $100 of assessed value for general fund, and we're maintaining the 17.5 per $100 of assessed value for the debt service fund. This rate indicated above does not either exceed the sum of the no new revenue, maintenance and operations, and combined INS rate, or the voter approval tax rate of 0.929412. It is an overall reduction of taxes from one year to the next of 16.82 cents. And just for an example of what it should save the taxpayers, on a $100,000 home, you should see a lower tax bill of approximately $157.
Thank you. I have some questions. Do any other board members have questions of Ms. Jennings? Ms. Jennings, what was last year's rate for maintenance and operations?
91.70 cents.
What was last year's rate for INS?
17.5 cents.
What, the 9238 that you're bringing to us this year, what is the rate for maintenance and operations?
74.88 cents.
What is the rate for INS?
17.5 cents.
Okay. Ms. Jennings, is it true that the district is funded by a combination of local tax revenues and state dollars?
Yes, sir. And that INS tax rate is set by TEA.
Okay. Ms. Jennings, if we reduced the M&O portion of our tax rate below 74.88, would state dollars fill the difference?
No, sir.
Okay. Ms. Jennings, is it a fair statement that the legislature in their funding formula assumes that we're going to levy M&O taxes at the rate allowed?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion that the property tax rate be set at the tax rate of 0.9238, which is an effective increase in the yield of 3.51%?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approval of an order authorizing the redemption of outstanding unlimited tax refunding bonds, taxable series 2019. Ms. Jennings.
Yes, back to that INS rate of 17.5 cents. As we see our property values increase, the yield on that also increases. And so in an effort to be good stewards of our tax dollars, we have paid down all callable debt that we can early. We paid it off early with great savings in interest to the taxpayers. This year we're doing something different because we have paid off all of our callable yield. We are asking you to approve an order of defeasance, which in essence sets up an interest-bearing escrow account that will pay the semi-annual payments on that debt, and then as soon as those bonds become callable in 2029, we will pay those off with a combination of what we've put in the escrow account and then the yield that we've received on those being in an interest-bearing account. It should save the taxpayers about $2.8 million in interest over the life of those bonds.
Great. Do any other board members have any questions about this account? Ms. Jennings, you mentioned callable bonds. Some bonds have a provision that if you pay them off early, you effectively have to pay an interest penalty, correct?
Correct.
And we've already paid off early all of the bonds that don't have that provision, correct?
Yes, sir.
So the establishment of this escrow account is to allow us to at least earn interest even though we can't pay it early to save interest, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it's not going to be one for one, but hopefully that'll help defer that.
Yes, sir.
Great. Do I have a motion to approve the establishment of an escrow account and an order authorizing the partial redemption of unlimited tax refunding bonds, taxable series 2019?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. designation of board delegate and alternate for the Texas Association of School Boards 2023 Delegate Assembly. Dr. Rollo.
Yes, so as a member of the Texas Association of School Boards, we have the ability to send a delegate and an alternate to the delegate assembly with our district's interest in mind, and that assembly will take place on September 30th. So this board may choose to elect a delegate and an alternate.
Great. Members, any discussion?
Decided not to do it. Not this time around, not for me. I've
Okay.
already done it 2 or 3 times.
All right, I think that's a good
Looks
point.
like Ryan wants to do it.
I've checked that box, Ms. Chavez, but thank you. That is,
I'll do it.
All right.
I'll do it.
Do I have a motion designating Beth Bridges as delegate and Chris Zapeta as alternate for the Texas Association of School Boards 2023 Delegate Assembly?
That's your second.
so moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those in favor, same sign. Motion carries.
Congratulations.
Don't break a leg, Beth.
Man, I don't know how Chris got away from it. Hoodwinked me my first year.
That's because I had a friend that I needed to vote on.
Approval of management fees under cooperative purchasing contracts. Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Brady, Board of Trustees. This is an annual item we have to bring to you in accordance with House Bill 273. Basically, in simple terms, it is buying access to these purchasing co-ops. So later on in the meeting, you'll see some of the various co-ops that we access in order to get a better purchasing price for some of the items that we do for us. So we are members of many other co-ops, but we don't pay fees. These two are the only ones that we pay fees to in order to access these co-ops. Well worth the fee that you see there for each of those.
Members, information in your packet. I have a motion to approve the report of the management fees as presented.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. All opposed, same sign. All opposed say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approval of teacher and administrator appraisal calendar and list of certified appraisers for the 23-24 school year. Dr. Rollo.
Yes, so this is an annual item that we bring to you. The T-test, or the Texas, sorry, just drew a blank. The Texas teacher, sorry. It's our evaluation system for teachers and for principals. And so each year we bring to you the list of qualified evaluators as well as the calendar for the process. And so this is for your approval, and I want to thank Max in Human Resources. He helps us put this all together, and also Beth Barrage. She helps lead the T-test training and helps ensure that our people are all trained in the process.
Thank you, Dr. Rollo. Any questions? I have a motion to approve teacher and administrator appraisal calendar and list of appraisers as presented.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approval of a resolution concerning compliance with certain public school safety and security requirements. Dr. Rollo.
Yes, so part of House Bill 3, as you guys are very well aware, was the requirement to have an armed peace officer on every campus during the school day while students are there. And this goes into effect September 1st. As you guys know, we have grown our police department by, we've doubled it in size over the last 5.5 years. But we are not at a point right now where we have enough of our own Lubbock ISD police officers to have one on every campus. Our high schools are covered. We have assigned our officers to cover every campus within a very close geographical location. We've added additional officers right now, but we are not going to be able to have one on every campus by the time school starts. So the board is required to pass this resolution to show our good faith effort in becoming compliant with this rule. One of the things that I want to commend Chief Mendoza, and I'm going to ask him to come forward and answer questions for you, but we are keeping the job posted, and as he has candidates apply who are qualified, we'll go ahead and bring those on board. He has also worked diligently with other law enforcement agencies in our community. On their days off, we are hiring them as temporary employees to come work for us. And he has recruited how many of those? 18 of those as of today.
Awesome.
To help come and fill in those gaps. So we will continue to work hard to meet this requirement, and we are making a good faith effort, and that's what this resolution is about. And Chief is here to answer any questions that you may have.
Members, any questions of Dr. Rollo or Chief Mendoza?
What's the additional cost, do we think, for this? I mean, is there an estimate?
Just the officers alone is just over $2 million to get into
Unfunded
compliance.
mandate by the state.
We are
Well, we
getting
got how much per campus?
$15,000 per campus.
Okay, well, let me, hang on.
And while he's doing the math, House Bill 3 was much larger than just the officers. That was just one piece of it. There were a lot of facility requirements in House Bill 3, and I am grateful to our community because of the 2018 bond, we can already check off the other boxes. So we're not having to spend part of that $15,000 on facilities because we were already in compliance with that. But this piece, having a peace officer on every campus, the $15,000 doesn't even cover the cost of the salary for that.
So the 15,000, how many campuses do we have for purposes of that calculation?
50.
50. Okay, well, that ought to be easy. That ought to be, yeah, that's 1.5 million divided by 2, isn't it? Okay, so we got $750,000, and it's going to cost $2 million?
That's just salaries. That's not equipment.
That's before we
vehicles.
buy a car
Yes.
or a gun or a belt.
Yes.
Okay. Chief, you got an estimate what it costs to equip a new officer?
To fully equip an officer without a car, it's $8,000, right about.
Okay, with one.
What we're talking about, another $47,000 vehicle.
So 55 grand per officer, basically.
Correct.
All right. And what was the full-time force employment before the bill passed?
We were at 21 officers and 3 supervisors, not including myself.
Okay, so let's just call that 24. So we would need to double the size of our department basically to make it work.
Well, we probably have to do more than that, Mr. Brady. So if we hire 26 officers, that put one on every one of those campuses. However, that's not accounting for officers that take a day off, get sick, God forbid, a funeral, anything like that, have to get some training. So we would have to equip that and supervisors as well. We'd have to have officers that would need supervision and so forth. So we estimated at about 60 officers is what we'd need.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, the part-time guys that you brought in, there was 18 of them, right?
Yes.
They have their own vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Some
Some
of-
with PDs and.
So the Lubbock Police Department officers do. Not all of them are marked, but the majority of them are.
Sure.
We have some out-of-city people, like from Carsby County, Lynn County, and possibly bringing in Cochran County, that they won't be able to drive their marked units, but there'll be a uniform presence on the campus.
Okay, nice. Thank
Great.
you.
Okay, well, and the other thing I think we ought to all note, and I'm sure we all agree on, is we sure appreciate the cooperation and assistance from those neighboring departments and those officers. It's another example of the partnerships that we're so lucky to have with LPD and the Sheriff's Office and others, and I do want to, and I know you have colleagues in those, and please pass on our appreciation for their help in this circumstance.
Absolutely, sir.
I just asked, how could you speak to the screening process?
So,
Thank you.
So there is a screening process. First of all, the LISD has their own that we do, and then we make the phone calls and do a background check. Now, they're already police officers, so we can't go out and do a full-blown background like we do for our own officers. But I talk to each sheriff, each chief, and make sure that they are quality applicants and can, that he would recommend them. And so far, that's been the case.
Nice. Can I ask, it's a little bit unrelated, are we going to still have audits, the building audits like we did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so the intrusion audits will continue into this year. We have been told that there is a slight change. In the past, we had to bring in a public board meeting if our interior doors, if we had an interior door that was not locked, and now since that is not required by the state to have interior doors locked, they've changed that to where we still need to have a correction plan, but we do not have to come to you guys with that. It'll go to the safety committee.
But it will be nice to have an officer on each campus that can kind of
Yes.
check that and make sure that we're following guidelines.
And just so you know, their duties, I have a sheet that I hand to each one of them about my expectations are. And part of that, of course, to be in the present, being armed, checking exterior doors, and intervening during any breach of the peace. However, any kind of criminal act or something like that, we're going to assume any kind of reports or arrest from them. They're not going to actually partake in that part of it unless it's absolutely necessary.
Chief, we spoke briefly yesterday, and we talked about the amount of time and effort that you personally are putting in, and I didn't get a chance yesterday to tell you thank you, but I wanted to say publicly thank you for the work that you're doing, the relationships that you bring, and the outside of the box thinking that you're utilizing to try to help us solve a nearly insurmountable task. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Especially the mentoring piece. I really like that your officers are doing that, and it speaks volumes to our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you can only imagine the scheduling puzzle he has
Yeah.
to put together.
But I've got a plan.
That's right.
Thank you,
Thank
Chief
you.
Mendoza.
Thank
That's what
you.
we got. Any other questions, Chief? All right. I have a motion to approve the resolution as laid out by Dr. Rollo and Chief Mendoza.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approval of health insurance plan, prescription drug plan, and dental plan for 2024. Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Brady. First of all, I want to start off by thanking our operations committee. We have had a robust conversation around how to present a plan that is sound, but yet at the same time affordable for us as a school district. So you have the details there. Basically, we're making some changes at the out-of-pocket and co-insurance levels, and the prescription drug plan, there will not be any changes there. We are not making any changes to the zero copay clinics. And I just want to reinforce to all of our staff that may be listening to access those free clinics and the prescriptions that come along with those free clinics, as that is at no charge to them for the most part. Unless there's something special that's needed. But for the typical cold or sinus infection, they could walk into one of those 19-ish clinics and be served at no cost to them. And that is a part of our insurance plan that we have had feedback. We conducted a survey with our staff, and loud and clear, that was a piece that we felt was very desired by our staff that are accessing the plan. I also want to commend Lisa Thompson, our Executive Director of Risk Management and Payroll. She has worked diligently with our consultants, Marsh McLennan, to really bring us the best option for our employees. And so be happy to try to answer. And Lisa is here this morning to answer the granular details if you have those kinds of questions.
Just for clarification, Lisa, the prescription cost, that only we're referring to just the antibiotics, is that correct? Or is it more extensive?
For the zero copay?
Yes.
It can range. There's a list on our website of various medications that are zero cost. If one attends to an illness at one of our zero copay clinics, and they take that prescription to United Pharmacies, who's been a great partner of ours, there's a variety of things. It's not just antibiotics. It could be a variety of things like that. It's updated periodically under our partnership. CVS also is our prescription drug program, and they provide very low cost. We taught like $1 or $2 or $4 prescriptions for preventative medications.
Sure.
So there's, there are high cost drugs across the nation and not controlled by us certainly or any others, but there are very reasonable costs to our employees. We've worked real hard on that, and we've engaged other programs like Prudent RX and things like that over the years to try to also reduce the cost to our employees.
And that's one thing about United, they do that for everybody across the board. When it comes to antibiotics, they automatically get it free. So that's a good plus for a lot of folks anyways, because those can be expensive.
Yes, and we pay those. That's a direct carve out like we do with UMC for our zero copay clinics. So we pay for those zero copay
prescriptions and bypass the processing through our medical plan. Again, some cost savings to us as a district. And they, again, have been great partners of ours for many years. They do our flu clinic. We get a very reduced cost on that for our flu shots and things like that also.
Thank you.
May I just clarify? So there's no, if I'm reading this right, there's no rate increase
That's
on
correct.
any plan.
Right.
That's
for
correct.
any level.
You'll see that on the next item
family.
that will adopt the premium rates.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
But this is speaking just of the plan.
Okay.
No premium increase and no deductible increase.
And the other thing I'll do right quick is we'll take separate votes, but I'll call up item H, approval of health insurance plan premium, so we can discuss them together. I'll go ahead and call up item H, the approval of health insurance plan premium structure and dental plan premium structure, and ask Mr. Rodriguez to go ahead and lay those out.
Sure, yes, sir. Very simple, because there will be no rate increases to the premiums as we compare from last year to this year for the health insurance. There will be no change for the dental premiums. We negotiated that at the onset of moving into that type of dental plan. And so, and the amount that the district is putting towards the employees' insurance, those that choose, is $391. That is no change from last year, and it is still the highest in comparison to our friends at Friendship and Cooper. We are the highest contributor to our employees' health plan.
Great. And when you, and I get, part of the point there is that we're not on TRS care, and that's.
That is absolutely correct. We have employees that are coming from other districts that come from TRS, and every time we engage with those employees, they're amazed at the price of our health insurance plan and the benefits that come with it. Again, the zero copay clinic is an outstanding shining star for us that we are very proud of.
True. You know, if somebody has routine
Yes.
health issues, and God forbid nothing serious in a given year, you can have a zero copay year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, any other questions or comments about either the approval of the health insurance plan, prescription drug plan, and dental plan, or the premium structure for those items?
Mr. Brady, if I could make one clarification. Please. The premiums that you see listed there are not inclusive of the wellness credit that, once again, the district offers. So if you choose as an employee to participate in the wellness program that we've put together with IA Wellness, that's a reduction of $75 from those rates that you see there based on the plan that you select. It's $75 a month. Those rates that you see there are monthly rates. And so, for example, the employee-only basic HMO plan is $95 a month. Subtract $75. That means the employee is going to be deducted $20 a month for that choice and plan. So just want to make sure that the public is clear that these numbers do not include the wellness credit.
Great. Yes, Ryan.
Mr. Brady, I would just say that, and I think Ms. Chavez said in several times, Jason, Chris, every time, just to let the team members of LISD know, I mean, where the point we started at was that if we're not able to give a raise, or at least announce one at this point, there's no way we were going to increase the cost of the insurance. And so while there are some slight changes on the back end, there's no front end changes to where, we're keeping pay the same and we're taking from the monthly pocket. But I would say to fellow board members, Dr. Rollo, your staff, and to all the team members, there's going to have to be great changes to the insurance plan for 2025. There's no way we can keep doing what we're doing because the district continues to contribute more and more and more and has eaten the vast majority of the inflationary costs on our health plan. And so, I have recommended that we look at significantly increasing premiums, and we're talking about 2025, not this next year, but then also significantly decreasing out of pocket, significantly decreasing the deductible, make it more of where if somebody's really utilizing the insurance, they're paying on a monthly basis versus, some of these folks, writing a $2,000 check for a specialty visit or something of that nature. And so I guess just want to be fair in saying that while I think this year is the best situation we could have asked for, I don't think it's realistic past this next fiscal year.
Well, and unrealistically, we're gonna have to give some sort of a raise if we continue to do that in the coming in the future. They're not gonna be able to pay for their meds, pay for stuff. So that's something to think about too.
Members, any other comments or discussion? Or questions? All right, I'm gonna take them up separately for the motions. Do I have a motion to approve item G, the health insurance plan, prescription drug plan, and dental plan for 2024 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item H, do I have a motion to approve the health insurance plan premium structure and the dental plan premium structure for 2024 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Dr. Rollo, is there going to be need for an executive session today?
It's up to you.
Okay, let's move. All right, I am going to give the chair to our vice president, Mr. Stubblefield, and he will take up, I would imagine, starting at item 6, academic action items.
We still have one more administrative.
We do?
Yes.
What did I miss?
District contract renewals.
Contract renewals.
Oh, well, that's in item 8, procurement and contracts. Yeah, he'll come to that. Yeah, we're just going back to item 6.
Okay.
Thanks. No problem.
Thank you, Mr. Brady. Thank you, Ms. Chavez.
See you, Lola.
Do we have any members of the public who would like to address the board regarding the academic action items?
Yes, sir.
If you would, Mr. Love, would you please state your name and address for the record?
George Love, and I represent the Students of Hope at 2025 North Akron Avenue, Lubbock, Texas, 79415. I'm so excited to see on the agenda the agreement in principle for the continued partnership with the Lubbock County Juvenile Justice Center. That partnership is strengthened each year as you all support, not just in principle, but in budgetary allocation, the great work that goes on in the lives of those students. Just earlier this week, I received a testimonial of a student that spent 415 days in a place where he lived and learned there at 2025 North Akron, was released and partnered up with one of our engagement resource team members funded by the ACE program in the 21st century. That young man has graduated high school this summer, is gainfully employed and supporting his family. That's a testament to this board and the full throttle support that you provide by way of resources and in principle to those services at LCJJC. I commend you and I applaud you. In addition to the partnership with the YWCA and the Amend program, lives are being positively impacted, which obviously impacts our community. So thank you for your support, and we look forward to continued work and continued progress.
Thank you, Mr. Love.
Thank you, Mr. Love.
Item A, approval of articulation agreement for an early college high school between Texas Tech University and Estacado High School. Dr. Willow.
Yes, so we are happy to bring to you this articulation agreement with Texas Tech University. This is truly a one in a kind early college high school in the state of Texas, and that it is in partnership with a Tier 1 university. And students are able to earn up to 60 hours of college credit from Texas Tech University at absolutely no cost to the student. And this has been a game changer for so many of our students in Lubbock ISD in the early college high school program. So I just want to take a moment and thank the visionary leadership that came before me, both with the board and superintendent, to make this happen. I want to thank Doyle Vogler. He was a big part in the original articulation agreement. I want to thank Misty Reber. She's led the charge with this new articulation agreement. Angelica Wilbanks, the principal at Estacado High School, has been instrumental in this work and helping to make sure it happens. Tanner Rodriguez, who has now retired but did a phenomenal job as our Estacado Early College High School coordinator, and now we have Amy Higgins on board, and she's doing a phenomenal job of stepping in and helping to make sure that we're doing what we need to for these students. Estacado's enrollment has grown because of this program, as students are accessing it from all over Lubbock ISD and even some from outside of Lubbock ISD. So I'm happy to bring this to you. Misty, if there's any thing in particular you want to highlight, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, we're here to answer any questions you may have.
I feel like we've reviewed this in committee more than once and looked at the differences for this agreement, but we feel very good about our partnership and very good about where we're moving in the future, and we're excited about the opportunities and some of the nuanced changes inside the contract that are just going to provide more opportunities for kids to be actually on campus. And have some greater intentional recruitment to go to Texas Tech after high school.
Dr. Rollo or Misty, whoever needs to answer this, and I'm sorry that I'm ignorant to this, but what kind of advising, counseling services are we providing these kids to kind of help them figure out what path they may want to go? Because the one thing, and I absolutely love this, and I love that kids can start. I love at our other high schools where you can get credit as well. But one thing that concerns me is, 17, 18, 19-year-old going in as a junior, and you got to pick your, what you're going to do. So are we, Lubbock ISD, doing something to help these students kind of identify maybe their career path or what they're interested in?
We are, we offer and that's one thing that's addressed in the new contract that I do think that we probably did not have solidified well enough in the past. It was in the original design but had not been followed up on, and so there is written into this contract, there will be opportunity for kids not only to put their feet on the ground at Texas Tech and visit, but they also will have advising support. So we have a liaison in the provost office that is working with us. They will spend time with the kids. They will be visiting with them. They end up with 60 hours around humanities, kind of multidisciplinary studies in the end. But we want to make sure that they can navigate into that next pathway. So they will be spending time not only one-on-one, but in small group with the kids at Estacado High School coming over from the university to make sure that they're ready to move forward. And then we also are working with them so that once kids graduate, they have support in that first year as they transition over, so that they have someone that is not watching over them, but is checking in to make sure that the transition is okay, that they feel comfortable and confident in making that transition. So that's one aspect that the university is really dedicated to, and we've requested to have more support around for the future.
If I'm not mistaken, we've had a verbal commitment from Dr. Skubanek to be a lot more intentional about recruiting and retaining those students that are graduating from Estacado High School to come to Texas Tech University.
Yes, sir. And we've already begun, Amy can speak to this more, but we've already begun with the date picking and what is that going to look like, and what are we going to do for busing, and what time of day will we take kids, and what will that process be to make sure that and it goes both ways. We want to make sure that people from Tech are at Estacado, and then our Estacado students have the opportunity to go to Texas Tech so they feel comfortable there as well. So we're really getting that scheduled. They have new oversight from Texas Tech, so they have a new administrator overseeing this out of the online office, and that's a new office that was created around this. Even though we're not online, we're still in that office. And so we feel like that's going to give us a really good launch to move forward with some new programming.
And Mr., could you speak to the original oversight and the change in the new oversight as it pertains to the university?
So originally we were part of the College of Education, and as we have lost some legends along the way, there has been kind of a transition of who is in charge of that, and so we are now moved to the Vice Provost office. And out of that office, they've then created a new entity or organization, Dr. Christofides, was moved out of the College of English over to that office to specifically oversee this program. And so that has been a lot of intentionality and a lot of purpose has been placed behind it. And then the other thing that we're excited about is there will be lots of data gathered.
Yeah.
So we're looking at more gathering around not only our kids that are inside Estacado, but what happens after. So how many students are going to tech, what majors are they looking at, how successful are they, and a lot more tracking just to help us refine and make sure that we're giving kids their best launch to move forward.
Yeah, I actually am in favor of the change, just because it gives the students the opportunity to see things from a more a global perspective of what the university offers, rather than being just siloed in the College of Education.
Absolutely.
Right? I think a lot of the students feel like, okay, so I got to come in and be an education major, which would be great, of course.
Right.
But there's a lot more opportunities, and that exposure helps to engage them in the true experience. So I'm a fan of that move. I want to offer the trustees any other comments or questions that they might have. And also, if we, Angelica and Amy, you guys are here, is there anything that you feel like the board needs to know about the resolution? Or we definitely thank you for your presence and the hard work of what's going on right there, because we know you have to market the program to the community.
We just want to say thank you. Thank y'all for supporting.
Good morning. I would just like to say thank you to all of you, because y'all have supported this throughout the year, and it, like Dr. Rillo said, it has been a game changer. We're a third of our population is early college high school, and so that we started out with just about 20% of our population at the beginning, and so to see it grow is exciting, and to see the changes. You know, our mission at Estacado is to transform lives, and this is truly transforming the lives of our students. So thank you. I talked to one of my students that graduated back in 2018. The parent, actually, he was valedictorian. He graduated within 2 years, and mom said, I will go speak to the students what this did for my student. He was supposed to go to a nearby district. Mom made a difference and said, I'm going to send him to Estacado because that's where he wanted to go, and it changed his life and his family's life. So I want to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Angelica.
This time, do I have a motion to approve the articulation agreement for an early college high school between Texas Tech University and Estacado High School?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Motion passes. Item B, review Texas Association of School Boards Policy Update 120 and consider board approval of the local policies in Update 120. Dr. Rillo.
Yes, so we have had a first reading and a second reading of both updates 120 and 121. So I'll turn it over to Misty, as she has led that work, and to highlight anything that you want to highlight, and otherwise we'll ask for approval.
Absolutely. So this is the same information that we looked at last time, and keep in mind, lots of this was just language change. The really only significant shift inside 120 is CB Local, that says that we will be publicly presenting any awards that we receive from the federal government in a grant form. That could be ESSER, title, or any other award. The rest of those were language changes, or making sure that we have emergency plans for a train derailment within near one of our campuses.
Right.
So remember, there was just some nuances in there.
Trustees, any questions? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Motion passes. Item C, review TASB Policy Update 121 and consider board approval of the local policies in Update 121.
Same.
Yeah, so the significant portion of this one is FFI local, which is the Freedom from Bullying Act. This is where Kami gave you a presentation around what the minimum standards are, what the expectations are. You'll see this connected as we bring the Student Code of Conduct to you also. Those pieces will be updated not only in the Student Code of Conduct upon your approval, also Student Handbook, website, and then beyond that, actually in procedure, in the way that we practice. And so after we have your approval, then we have principal training, campus training, and procedures already written and ready to go.
All right. Trustees, any comments, questions? Do I have a motion to approve Local 121 as presented?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Motion passes. Approval of 2023-2024 Student Code of Conduct. Dr. Rollo.
Yes, so this is an annual item that we bring to you, and I want to thank Kami Finger and Brian Ellison. They've taken the lead on helping to make the needed updates. So I'm going to ask Kami to come forward and just share the changes that are in the Student Code of Conduct from last year.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have 4 major changes that are in the Student Code of Conduct. The first started out with Senate Bill 37, which is a clause about hazing. And so our students must report any incident of hazing or what they might feel is hazing to the appropriate district official. And so we would obviously prefer that that be an assistant principal, or counselor, but can include a police officer, law enforcement official, or other agency. And so as part of our training to our students, annually we have our Stop It app that Stacy Carter oversees. In the Stop It app, it does not address hazing with specificity. And so we will add in the hazing portion of that to our annual training. And so we have plans to do that hopefully in the spring. The other bill was House Bill 114. House Bill 114 added in an e-cigarette statement that said that any student that's caught with an e-cigarette or what we call a vape that could include tobacco or any part of a vape has to be referred to a DAEP. In setting this standard, I think our legislators also were brought to revelation that if we do that, our DAPs will be at capacity, especially middle school and high school sections.
Actually,
and
beyond
so,
capacity.
yes, which are already at capacity. And so what it does allow is for a school district to send the student instead to in-school suspension. And if there is room then made in the DAEP, then the student would then be placed in DAEP. And so we proceed with our normal discipline hearing, drawing those conclusions using our administrative discretion to make that decision. And then we have trained all of our principals and all of our assistant principals in the procedures for what that will look like and sound like for our students. As far as numbers go, we have 8 teachers at PIA for middle school and 3 for high school with 1 teaching assistant. It would fill our classrooms currently. Our highest numbers are in 7th through 9th grade. We usually have anywhere, our max capacity is about 25. If we average that out, we would probably add at least 12 kids to every one of those sections at a DAEP. Serving more than 25 students in a classroom is difficult and challenging. And so you could imagine that 50 students in one section would be completely overwhelming. And so we have those procedures. In addition to that, through our District of Innovation, and our drug intervention plan with Texas Tech University and the Adolescent Substance Abuse Disorder Program, we will work to stand that up shortly. We'll start with 2 pilot campuses, Coronado and OL Slayton, where if a student with a first or second offense comes in with vape, THC, tobacco, etc., then we will offer the parent an opportunity to enter their student into a program that will address substance use. We'll also require the parent to consent if they choose to a screener that will help us see if the student needs further and more intensive services through the substance abuse program, that where they could work directly with an actual certified drug counselor. And so standing that up to, then we're addressing the issue on both sides, that being intervention for the student, potentially treatment for the student, while we're also in compliance with making sure we're addressing the consequence side of this.
But keeping them on campus, right? So that's
Yes, ma'am.
much easier, not having to go and disrupt
Correct.
their learning.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. 50% of our placements at PI last year were drug offenses, and so we need to develop a prevention program for that area. The next one was House Bill 3928, which
ask that if a student's placed in a DAEP, that they be given their child fine rights and procedural safeguards, which essentially means we're handing the parent during our discipline conference information about whether or not we suspect their child may be a child with a disability and their rights under IDA as it relates for requesting a full and individual evaluation or a special education evaluation. So every student now who's not receiving special education services in the discipline conference will be handed that information, so their parents will have that on hand. And then the last one is House Bill 1427. That has to include obscene threatening call from a disposable communication device. So if we've got students who may be using track phones or other applications where the phone number is not identifiable, that we're addressing that in our threat process. Those are the major changes.
Trustees, any questions? I have a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Motion passes. Thank you, Kami. Item E, approval of the memorandum of understanding with Hub City Outreach Center.
Yes, so this is an MOU between Lubbock ISD and Hub City Outreach Center. The Hub City Outreach Center is a nonprofit that works with youth to help them set goals. They work with students with behavioral issues or are at high risk of substance abuse and or mental health disorders. This program would work with our DAEPs and also help students as they transition back to their home campuses. I believe this is our second year. This will be our second year to work with other campuses. And they work with other campuses as well.
All right. Trustees, any questions? I have a motion to approve the MOU with Hub City Outreach.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Motion passes. Approval to execute the MOU for the Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program. Dr. Rowe.
Yes, so we call this the JJAEP. This is an annual item that we bring to you. It's a partnership with the county. It is required that counties that have a population of 125,000 or more have a JJAEP, and this serves students from all over our county, but Lubbock ISD is responsible for providing the educational programming at this facility. And Kami oversees the program, so she would be happy to help us answer any questions you may have about JJAEP.
Trustees, we have any questions? I do want to thank Mr. George Love for coming out to speak in support of the agreement. And
Well,
the
this is the
partnership.
next one.
I know, I'm just doing it preliminarily, as he is involved in the campus, and I thank Kami for the oversight and with this program. And I think with the partnership there, it's going to be great and extensive. Do I have a motion to approve the MOU with JJAP?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimous. Item G, approval of the authority to negotiate and execute a written agreement between Lubbock ISD and the LCJJC.
Yeah, so this is similar to the first item, although these students actually, as Mr. Love said earlier, these students actually live and learn at the facility. We are extremely grateful for Mr. Love and his leadership at the campus, and more so his compassion and determination to help change the trajectory of these students' lives. And the testimony he shared early is an evidence of that. Again, Kami oversees the programming at LCJJC, and so she can help me answer any questions you may have.
Trustees, any questions? We will entertain a motion to approve the written agreement between Lubbock ISD and the LCJJC.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Motion passes. Item H, approval of cooperative agreement with South Plains Community Action Association, Head Start Division. Dr. Rollo.
Yeah, so this is another annual item that we bring to you, and this cooperative agreement allows SPCAA Head Start Division to help us with diagnostic and educational services for our preschool age children with disabilities.
Trustees, any questions? Do I have a motion to approve the corporate agreement with SPCAA?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Motion passes. Approval of the memorandum of understanding with St. Francis Ministries Qualified Residential Treatment Program. Dr. Rowe.
Yes, so this is our second year with St. Francis Ministries, and it is a residential treatment facility that is located within Lubbock ISD's boundaries. This agreement is how we outline how we help provide educational services. And Kami, I want to thank her for putting this together, and she will help answer any questions you may have about it.
Trustees, any questions? Do I have a motion to approve the MOU with St. Francis Ministries?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Motion carries. Approval of the memorandum of understanding with Women's Protective Services. Dr. Rilla?
Yes, another annual item that we bring to you. Women's Protective Services is located within Lubbock ISD's boundaries, and we serve the children who are living there. We provide transportation, and you can see all of the other pieces that we do to help make sure that that's a smooth and helpful situation for the students who are living in that shelter.
So they would continue to go to their home school, the school that they're enrolled in, if they are.
We do have a school designated, but if they want to stay in their home school, they are allowed to do so. But some of these students are moving from other cities in parts of the state.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve the MOU with WPS?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Motion carries. Item K, approval of the memorandum of understanding with the YWCA for the Amend Together program.
Amen, amen. You couldn't have said that better. We, of course, have a wonderful relationship with the YWCA, but I have to say that the Amend Together program has been such a great tool to help us really mentor young people across the district. It is a program, it's a curriculum that really is designed to help end violence against women and girls by engaging men and boys to be a part of the solution. And so they work on staff development, healthy relationships, teen dating abuse, and healthy communication for teens. This is something that we see across multiple schools in our district. We've really worked with middle schools quite a bit because you guys have seen that data, but this is a great program, so we're grateful for the opportunity to ask you to approve it again.
Trustees, any questions, comments? I do want to thank personally Mr. Jafar Abdullah, who helps to manage the program and oversee it, and gives great and exemplary work. He's an outstanding young man, and we appreciate everything that he invests within the lives of these young people. Do I have a motion to approve the MOU with the YWCA for the Amend Together program?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same. Motion carries. Next, we're going to move back down to the normal aspect of the program and move to administrative action items. And we'll jump down to procurement and contracts. I'm sorry, we're going to move to procurement and contracts. I asked Rick to see if we could contact and reach Rob and Ermelinda. And while we're doing that, we will go ahead and move on with the approval of the district contract renewals. Do we have any members of the public who would like to address the board regarding any of the procurement and contract items posted? Seeing none, I will hand it to Brother Rodriguez.
Thank you, Pastor Stubblefield. So only a few items to bring to you for your consideration this morning. Our annual Communities and Schools Partnership. We value so much what they bring to our kids, and the services that they provide. I have a little summary sheet. 39 of our schools are served by communities and schools. We use various funds to pay for these, for this program. And so I just did some quick math. They provided 100,839 hours and a half hours of service to our kids. And so when you look at the cost, it's easy math. We're doing really well for what this program provides for our kiddos. So we're real pleased to bring that for your consideration. The next two items are technology. They're renewals in the sense that we're continuing our services with them. We're starting a new period of 3 years with Microsoft Education Software. This is the licensing for our staff and up to 50,000 students. So we're prepared to take on more kiddos and have licenses for them. The pricing doesn't change for reducing that number, just FYI, because I asked. We did look at we looked at a total of 3 options for that, and Microsoft Education was absolutely in the best interest of the district. The next one is Flex Software. That's for our Cisco equipment, which is all of our phones. As you all know, our phones are no longer landlines, but rather voice over IP. So, and there's some other technology pieces there that are tied. Our WebEx Teams, which is what we use as a district. Instead of using text messaging, we use WebEx Teams because it can be tracked and reproduced in the event that we need that kind of information back. The next one is our Frontline purchase, which is an annual item that we bring to you. This is servicing our ERP systems. Our ERP is Enterprise Response Program, or what I call our HR piece to Frontline, as well as our Student Information Services, or SIS. You may hear those terms in the technology world. And so that's our service, our renewal for that one. There it is. I had extra stuff. And then the final one is our disinfection services. So our annual partnership with Germ Blast, obviously as y'all recall, during the pandemic, they stepped up tremendously to provide services for our kids when we needed it, and our staff. And so we're grateful for their partnership, and we so appreciate Germ Blast in not just what they provide in services, but what they provide in support for us and our kids. Be happy to answer any questions.
Trustees, any questions?
Not question, but I would just, having been a part of communities and schools before I was on this board, I would just urge our campuses that do not have a coordinator to put one on. I mean, you have funds, and I think it does the students a great deal of good, and I think they're able to meet some needs that we can't meet and that some of their families can't meet. And so appreciate all the good that CIS does throughout not just LISD, but our neighboring districts and state, et cetera.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Curry. Want to thank Rick for that presentation, and also thank Mr. Damon Jackson. We have an opportunity to see him out of the catacombs and all the work that he does to keep our IT department moving forward. This time, the chair will entertain a collective motion to approve the district contract renewals as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Motion passes. As we've already determined, there is no need for an executive session. I will say we were waiting on Rob, Nance, and Ermelinda Hugan, because what we wanted to do was express our appreciation to them. We recently had the ribbon cutting on the AgriSTEM facility, and so much great time and effort has gone into making that a successful ribbon cutting so that the kids could start on day one. And we would be remiss to not recognize our own head of bonds and facilities and all the work that he and his team have put forth in making that happen. So in their absence, I just want to applaud them for work well done.
I would add that they did all of that while we were opening Dupree and the renovations there, plus all of the secure vestibule entrances that we were finishing up this summer, which are now 100% complete. So we're grateful to our facilities team. They have done a phenomenal job.
Absolutely.
So is it fair to say we are 100% complete on the hardening, all the hardening packages? Okay.
Yes.
There may be some punch list
Right.
things.
Well, sure, but I
There's,
mean,
there's
we
some
don't
slight
have- there's nothing to
painting and
start.
some flooring and maybe a light here or two that need to be tweaked, but the schools are secure.
And while fighting an extensive health claim and trying to put roofs on.
Yes, sir.
Still managed. You know, he's juggling a lot. They're dealing with a lot, and they still got us where we needed to be on time. So we're thankful.
Well, we know they're not here, but we'll have them watch this.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rollo. Trustees, it is 8:32, and this meeting is now adjourned.